Prototyping is a trap, but it's a good trap that you set unless you're reckless and get caught by it. Prototyping traps bad ideas early, so you don't waste months or years building a game that's boring. But if you're not careful, your prototypes become too complex. You hold on to them for too long, and you begin to prioritize beautiful modular code over speed. First, let's go over the types of prototypes you can make, and then how you can make them. Generally, prototypes are ugly, with primitive capsules and cubes. That's what you've heard most of the time, but that's only true sometimes. If you're making a mechanical prototype where you test things like movement, jumping, physics, game mechanics, and logic, then yes, you should definitely use primitives. But there are other types of prototypes. You can make visual prototypes where primitives are no good. If you're testing out shaders, lighting, specific art styles, or combat animations, don't feel like you're breaking any prototyping rules by not using capsules and cubes. You should use real art here. You're not testing if the game is fun. You're testing if your visual ideas are valid and attention-grabbing. You can also make technical prototypes. Can I handle 10,000 animated soldiers? Can this shader and visual effects run fast enough on mobile? Can I have an open world with trees that shed their leaves in the autumn? Every single leaf goes down. Well, you don't need production-ready art, but you can't test this with primitives either. You need some conceptual art assets that represent what you have in mind for your final game. And you can make experience prototypes. Here you combine rough art, animations, visual effects, audio, and UI to feel if the experience you have in mind is as amazing as you imagine. But let's hold on a minute. Can I get a rewind? The first question you should ask yourself is, should I even make a prototype? And the answer is yes. But don't just make one, make many of them. You won't hit a home run with your first idea, so create multiple prototypes, but make them fast. The whole point of prototypes is that you test whatever concept that you have in mind as fast as you can. Evaluate the result and decide whether to dump it and move on, or turn that prototype into a complete game. Some of my prototypes take a few hours, and then I dump most of them. Some other prototypes of mine take weeks to make, and then I dump most of them too. This time is not wasted, it's time saved and lessons learned. My mechanical prototype for Unfair Rampage Nightfall took 2 days to create. I used primitive capsules and cubes, and I focused on controls, physics, and feel. That's crucial to get right in any platformer. And then I focused on the behavior of the AI enemies. I've made enough platformer prototypes in the past to know that your basic tutorial platformer controls suck, and they won't cut it in a real game. Unfair Rampage is used as a reference game in the Ultimate Indie program, so after this initial prototype, I spent another 600 hours turning it into a complete game by refactoring the code, making iterative upgrades to the art assets, and adding more polish and features. Some say you should always rewrite your game from scratch after your prototype. And there are some truths to that, since you should write fast and sloppy code in this phase. But in many cases, refactoring works too. So use whatever method fits the situation best. My visual prototypes usually take a few days or weeks to explore different visual concepts, and I'm learning at the same time. And then I test my result on X and on YouTube, and then I monitor for reactions. If there's little interest, I park it. I've leveled up my knowledge, became a little bit wiser, and then I move on. Sometimes I do technical prototypes like this snow interaction system, or testing a bunch of animated soldiers running around with inverse kinematics, or custom line tracing car suspension. I made a technical prototype when I needed to determine if deferred or forward rendering in Unreal Engine is better for an R-type-like side-scroller. This quick technical prototype helped me determine that deferred rendering and lumen lighting is too blurry, and it creates visual artifacts compared to the sharper, cleaner look in forward rendering. But the trade-off is that I can't use lumen lighting, so I have to handle the lights differently. These type of prototypes can help you answer your technical questions. Sometimes I turn these into experience prototypes, where I use stuff from my visual prototypes, like the seasonal trees, and I combine them with my technical prototypes, like the car suspension. After combining those, I posted a video clip on my X feed, and it got 200 times my normal view count, and that's confirmation and a green light to continue. But like my wife says, it's not all about you, you know. So let's move on from my prototype and focus on yours. Don't feel locked to a particular type. If you have an idea in mind for a game where you're wondering if certain mechanics would be fun, create a mechanical prototype with simple primitives. If it's not fun after a day or two, just park it and move on. Here are some guiding principles for you to follow for your mechanical prototypes. Use primitive art, capsules and cubes. Don't waste your time polishing visuals and animations. Write code fast. Sloppy code is okay. Don't waste your time obsessing over modular or beautiful code. Focus on genre essentials. If it's a platformer, focus on direct and responsive controls and the feel. If it's a racing game, focus on the driving feel. Get feedback from players. Don't just share a video clip, let them try it out so they can actually comment on the real gameplay. Prioritize speed over quality. You just want to test the fun of your game mechanics. You're not trying to win an architectural award. If you've got ideas for a visual look that you think will get that important 5-second wow, make a visual prototype using third-party or your own assets. Post it online, and if it's a meh response, well, park it and move on. Here are your principles for your visual prototypes. Favor third-party assets to save time, or create your own if they're specific to what it is that you need to test. Create a small slice. If it's a racing game, make one track. If it's an open world game, create a small but detailed region. Use primitive peripheral assets. If you're making a parkour game, the hero animations are in focus, and that's where your visual attention should be. Character, animations, speed trails, and camera behavior. Get feedback from video clips. Share video clips, and modify and improve until people are in awe in the comments. If you need to answer your own technical questions like performance or visual quality, shader techniques, AI navigations, or physics, create a technical prototype. Try to quickly get your questions answered. If you're wondering if a combination of art, UI, sounds, environments, lighting, and music would evoke specific emotions, create an experience prototype where you create a game moment. Test it on yourself, on your friends, then go and find some internet trolls or something and test it on them too. They'll be harsh. Prototype as fast as you possibly can to find the answers that you're looking for. If you know your game engine well, you can prototype in hours or days. If you're learning the game engine, it will take you longer, but that's okay. Don't get discouraged and don't lose motivation when you see people speedrunning the prototyping phase. It's only natural that it will take you more time if you're learning the game engine at the same time. And don't feel bad if your drive fills up with projects that you never finish. These prototypes didn't waste your time, they saved your time. Now that you've learned about prototyping, you'll be surprised at the #1 skill that indie devs totally forget about. And it's something everyone can do easily, and it's ridiculously fun. Check out this video to find out why that's not too good to be true.